Morning guys, another quick boxing little roundup for you guys. First up, Michael Conlon has won his fight. He beat Diego Alberto, I believe it's Ruiz, Diego Alberto Ruiz last night. Round 9, it was a TKO due to body shots. So yeah, Michael Conlon won his fight. What else? Marcus Maidana, guys, he's been quoted as saying in sources in Argentina, his homeland, that he is calling out Manny Pacquiao. He's saying he'll come out of retirement. He has said this before. Basically, a few months ago, he was supposed to come out of retirement, and then he tried for a weight cut. Didn't quite agree with him at that time, but obviously now he's thinking he can do it. Probably the incentive of a massive purse. I think the likelihood of this is maybe 60-40, but if he can come out of retirement and get himself in good shape, you've got to think Floyd Mayweather went life and death basically in the two fights with him. He still outclassed him at points, but it wasn't like he one-sided burial. It wasn't a domination, was it? So I can imagine Pacquiao thinking, oh, if he can fight Marcus Maidana with no VADA, because with Manny Pacquiao, if you guys are aware, he sometimes has VADA, but he only has VADA for the last 4 weeks, sometimes even the last week of the fight preparation, which basically means 12 weeks, or let's say 12 weeks out of a 16-week camp, he won't have VADA, or let's say 9 weeks or 8 weeks out of a 12-week camp, he won't have VADA. And basically, America's not like England, where we have UCAD, the UK anti-doping body. WBC have their own no drugs policy and their own drugs policy and everything like that. So they are linked to like VADA and USADA and stuff like that. But in general, boxing is about the UFC. So if you're like an MMA fan, the UFC now, I believe it's since 2014, 2015, might be 2015. Basically, since then, USADA, who's the American anti-dope in commission, basically, they literally take care of every fighter in terms of drug use, and if someone pops for a paired or a recreational drug, they will inform Dana White and they will be punished. But that's easier said than done. UFC is a promotion, so it's not all MMA. So Bellator, I'm not sure if Bellator has a USADA dealing or not. I think they do, but I'm not too sure. I have to find out. But I know for a fact like Rise FC, One FC, like the Asian and Japanese counterparts, a lot of them don't, which is why if you go and watch their fights, you'll see their guys are, for lack of better terminology, juiced up, because they don't have any regulations there, because even though it's the same sport, MMA is run by a promotion. So UFC, to be fair to them, you have to actually give them a lot of credit for that. They actually do have the things in place to restrict or stop performance-enhancing drug users, which is why you don't see the proliferation of drug users in MMA, particularly UFC. I'm not too sure about Bellator, as you do in boxing. Obviously, boxing probably won't ever be that way because there's different boxing authorities: WBO, WBA, WBC, IBF, occasionally IBO, depending on how you personally validate them as a actual boxing authority. But yeah, I find it very interesting, and I'm not going to insinuate anything, but very interesting how Manny Pacquiao's performances have been exceptional, and in particular his last few fights, since he hasn't well, he's been tested, let's be fair, but he's been tested very, let's say, lackadaisically. It's been very lax. It's been the last couple of weeks, literally, or the last month. But for the first 3-4 weeks, could he be cycling? I'm not gonna infer that, but you could make up your own minds. Obviously, that would be reasonable thing to think, wouldn't it? There's a lot of probability that he could be juicing. If you look at his speed and stamina in some of his last few fights, Furman, Matezi, he's been looking a hell of a lot better than he did maybe 5-6 years ago. So I don't know, you guys have to quick question yourself, I guess. Like I said, I'm not putting my words into anyone else's mouth. I'm not gonna give anyone else ideas. Let me know if you guys have the same ideas as me. I've got my own, obviously, inclinations and thoughts about the process, but I do think Manny Pacquiao, him and Floyd, obviously had that fight. It wasn't as good as everyone expected. It was still a defensively good, decently technical fight from Floyd's case. Manny probably thinks he can do better. But imagine Manny Pacquiao fights Maidana, smashes him. Not saying that'll happen, but let's imagine TKOs him. then obviously the clamour for a rematch with Floyd would it'll only intensify and grow. And I could see that happening. I could see Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao too. Floyd will definitely ask for the most stringent drug testing, as I think you should do as well. Like, it's not really fair that a lot of fighters nowadays seem to be either on peds or some recreational drug. Like, look at the case of Dillian White. We still don't know what's happened with Dillian. Did he take a recreational drug? Did he take a ped? What did he take? Why did it not come up for VADA, but it did come up for UCAD? There's so many questions. In fact, there's a myriad of questions, and there's more questions than answers sometimes, which isn't good when it comes to a sport in which you are bludgeoning the other combatant's head. Obviously, there's things like CTE. We know about concussion traumas. Oh, I'm not going to get into all of it, guys, but there's so many different possibilities of damage you can give yourself. So I do personally think we need the highest drug testing. And in England, we do have quite a lot of drug testing. And I wish it was across the board, and I wish it was in every other country in terms of boxing. Last boxing story. Basically, it's a few days ago, but Eddie Hearn did the interview TalkSport. And I know it's pronounced TalkSport as TalkSport, but it is what it is. No, what did Eddie Hearn say? So basically, he said that the fight will not be happening in America. He's pretty sure of that. It's like 99%. Obviously, Eddie Hearn's a promoter. Things can change. But Andy Ruiz, if you guys have seen it, he had an interview or on a podcast with Joe Rogan. It's a very famous podcast. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's a hit and miss. It's not something which I personally watch every week because some of the guests are just not things I'm interested in. But when it comes to sporting stars, it's sometimes decent. It's not. I can't, like I said, I can't listen to it all the time. But it's got some good guests on from time to time. And he had Andy Ruiz Jr. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I skipped most of it. But Andy Ruiz Jr. said the fight would not be happening in the UK. And Rogan did say, oh, but if it's in a rematch clause, then it has to be. And Andrew Ruiz was like, oh, there's different things in the clauses. We don't know. You guys don't know exactly what it's in. Don't assume what you think is in the rematch clause is. Doesn't really make full sense. But basically, I think the gist of it was they're both going to try and have their own way. Hearn doesn't want to fight in America. I think AJ supposedly does, but Hearn's a brother. But Hearn doesn't want AJ to fight in America. Ruiz doesn't want to fight in England, particularly. So they're trying to use Cardiff, because Cardiff's technically in Wales, but Wales is part of Britain. So I know for a fact they said they don't want to fight in England, but I'm not sure if they say they won't fight in Britain, because I'm pretty sure Ruiz has said things along those lines. If they don't want to fight in Britain, then they won't fight in Wales. So then you've got to think, where's this fight going to happen, guys? People say Nigeria. Have Nigeria got the funds to set it up there? It could happen in Dubai. Obviously, they've got billions and billions, and they could pay both fighters millions and advertising. But then, I don't know what the different time schedule is, so what would it be on pay-per-view for us here? It's just really becoming very convoluted once again. We expected to know when it'll be happening. It's now August, guys. It's not much time for negotiating left, let's be honest. The fight was going to happen in November or December, but if you think about the concussions that AJ possibly had inflicted on himself by Andy Ruiz Jr., then he needs to recover fully from that. 5 to 6 months, sometimes 4 months, depending on the concussion protocols in place. It looks like it won't happen in December, guys. I reckon it'll be the December card. I think the rumours are December 14th. We'll see what happens, I guess. But let's find out in the next couple of days. Supposedly, according to Eddie, but he said this before, we'll find out by this week. Hopefully that's the case. We want to find out. We want to see where it's happening, because then when we know where the venue is, then we can all make our own educated predictions, because I do think where the fight is will have a massive part to play in the rematch of Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Anthony Joshua. But yeah, that was the roundup for today, guys. If there's any more boxing news, I'll be sure to update. So yeah, Marcus Maidana calling out Manny Pacquiao. Conlon won his fight in round 9. He's going to go on to bigger and better things. And Eddie Hearn is saying that the fight will not happen in America, but Andy Ruiz Jr. is saying the fight won't happen in Britain. So where will the fight happen? Cheers, guys. It's been your boy, The H, talking comics, sports, boxing particularly, and wrestling. Cheers, guys.